Hey everybody, solder tank hardware review update right here on my vaping place. Hey everybody, Joe here. Nice of you to join me today. Thanks for coming. Well, here we are, day after Christmas, back on the other side of the pond, and I think even up across the northern border. Today's Boxing Day. So I just wanted to put this little video up real quick. Hopefully this is not going to be taking too long, but knowing me, anything's possible. On December 1st, I put up a video which I had been working on for quite some time on the CeraVape Soter tank. I went to great pains in that video to make mention that I did not have the high VG coil heads for that particular tank, and that everything that I was saying in that video about this tank in relation to the way it wicks and in the way the flavor and everything, that the cloud production and all that good stuff, was based on the fact that I had the standard, quote standard, close quote, wicking, ceramic wicked heads. You'll have to excuse me, I'm really tired. I didn't get to bed till late last night, and I'm a little bit peaked right now. Well, on Christmas Eve, just after I posted my video on how to recoil the ceramic wicked heads from CeraVape for the Mini and the Hygeia, the mailman came and brought me this. Well, in this package was 4 high VG heads for the solder. Well, considering the fact that I still had some juice left in my K-Fun, I proceeded to finish that off. And after I finished that tank off, I took out the solder, which I had put back in its case over here, and had put to one side because I wasn't very happy with the way its performance. It was okay. I really love this tank. I really do. I want to get that straight right here and right now. This tank is a very beautiful piece of machinery. I love the looks of it. I love the way this thing handles itself. Well, all except for the cap, which actually, by the way, now is actually working pretty decently. But my major thing with this tank was the way it wicked, and the fact that I had to go to a 50-50 PG-VG ratio juice in order to get these wicks that were in this thing to work properly. Well, when I got those high VG heads in the mail on Christmas Eve, and like I said, after I got through draining down my my K-Fun, I put in those heads into this solder tank. Now, I have already gone through, this is my 3rd tank in here of my New York lemon cheesecake. And as you can see on there, what does it say? If this thing will focus in, that is. 77% VG, 23% PG. And as you can see, that is as thick as bloody syrup. Well, like I said, after the 3rd tank, which is what I've got in here right now, and after doing quite a bit of extensive testing, And you can see I even put it on the notes that I did for the uh, coil head rebuild. I gotta tell you, those coil heads put into this tank, this is, sorry, something just moving on my shelf there. This tank is a totally different tank. All I have to say is, oh my freaking God, this is a totally different tank. These high VG heads in here allow this thing to wick this stuff without any issue. Now, this iStick 50 watt that I have here, okay? I'm going to show you right now. What does that say? 40 watts, 0.4 ohms on these 3 coil heads that are in here. I never, well, I shouldn't say never. I actually did bring it up to about 35 or so watts when I was doing the tank. I forget, it's been a while now. It's almost a month. And I didn't go listening to my own review. Once I get through doing one of those things, after listening to it for so long, I really don't want to go back and revisit it. But I tested this thing everywhere at 5 watt increments between 30 and 50 watts. Now, when I got it up to around 50 watts, I started getting some issues with this stuff wicking a little bit, but that may have been because of the fact that it was these coil heads, when I put them in here, were totally 100% dry. I mean, dry as a bone. I've tested this a couple of times, and I have gotten, and since these heads have gotten a chance to fully saturate, even at the 50 watts, I only occasionally start to get the faintest hit of a dryness coming in on it. You'll have to excuse me, I'm working totally off script here. This is completely, well, as they say in the singing, a cappella. Well, in this case, this is totally sans any scripting. I'm just doing this thing here as basically as a vlog type update. The flavor on this lemon cheesecake juice at 77% VG, 23% PG is freaking phenomenal. I have tasted nuances in this juice coming through these heads that I have not tasted before. The cleanness, the pureness of the flavor coming through on these heads is absolutely, totally out of my bloody gourd wild. Now, I'm sure you've turned around, some of you may have seen some of my other videos. I don't freaking mince words. If something's a piece of garbage, it's a piece of garbage, and I say so right up front, and I don't mince words about it. If you don't believe me, look at my Tugboat version 1 clone review. Okay? I don't like saying bad things about something, but if it's garbage, it's garbage. If it's good, it's good. I like this tank. I really do like this tank a lot. This tank is beautiful from the aesthetic. With the old coil heads in here. It was meh, okay. It worked. It did what it was supposed to do. It produced vape. The flavor was passable. With these high VG heads that are in here right now, at 40 watts, 45 watts, the flavor from this juice right here, I made this, so I know what's in here and I know how it's supposed to taste, is freaking phenomenal. It is clear. It's crisp. The cloud production, well, let me show you. All right, now, mind you, you're looking at it from this side. The light is coming down from this direction. So it's going to look thicker than what it normally is. So I'm going to try blowing it off here directly at my monitor so you can get an idea as to what's going on. Just remember, bear in mind the lighting and camera angles here, okay? Now I'm going to try and do about a 4-second hit here so you can get an idea as to what's going on. This is going to be direct lung. Mouth to lung. Woo! That's not a dry hit. That's just getting too much Nick. Woo! Remember, this is 6 milligrams. This isn't 3 milligram stuff. Whew. Yeah. Now, as you can see, I'm chain vaping this. Watch. No dry hits. Not even the start of one. Nothing. Nada. Just lemon like you wouldn't believe. The base of the cheesecake with the graham cracker crust taste in there, which never popped out before. Oh my freaking God. This is great. These coils are what this freaking tank needed. Desperately needed. Okay? If you go out and buy this tank, make sure you buy a whole, excuse my language here, buy yourself a whole shitload of these high VG heads. When you get the tank in, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take out those standard VG heads that are in there, and you're going to replace them with the high VG heads. Now I'm going to tell you something. These high VG heads do not have any separate markings on them. They look exactly to the naked eye. Now this is the standard VG head. Okay? Let's see if I can get this thing to focus in here. There we go. See that? I keep turning this thing the wrong way. Okay? That's the standard VG head. I'm going to hold that in this hand. This is the extra high VG head. Ben sent me an extra one to go in here. This is the extra VG head. Let me see if I can get that thing to focus in. Okay. Now, I'm going to put these two side by side. Your left is the high VG head. Whoopsie. Your right is the standard VG head. Now, the air holes on the high VG head are considerably larger. They're about half a millimeter larger than the air holes in the standard VG head. The outside diameter and the inside diameter of the high VG heads are exactly the same as the standard head. However, if you look at the high VG head ceramic wick under high magnification, that's this. There are, with this in place, with my reading glasses, yeah, this pair here on, looking through this, you can see the actual porosity of the ceramic on the two different heads. The ceramic on the high VG heads are considerably more porous than the standard head. That's how they're getting this stuff to wick properly. Also, by opening up the air holes here on the bottom, you're also getting more airflow coming through to be able to handle the increase in the juice coming in. So that way you don't turn around, you don't wind up choking it off. Now at 30 watts with this air hole half open, the flavor on this thing was freaking great. 35 watts, half open, great. 45 watts, half open, the flavor was great. I started to taste a little bit of a dry hit. 30, 35, and 40 watt fully opened. Well, at 30 and 35 watts with the airflow fully open, the flavor was a little bit meh, a little bit washed out. Okay? At 40 watts, the flavor really like went boing. It popped. At 45 watts, it was great, fully open. I started to taste a little bit of a dry hit when I started chain vaping it, but it wasn't that bad. At 50 watts, which is the maximum that this little iStick 50 watt can go for, up till about 5 seconds on a single draw, it was great. At about the 4.5 to 5 second mark, somewhere in between there, I started tasting the dry hit with this thing, with the air holes fully opened. Okay? I'm going to bump this up to full 50 watts. Now, I never use this thing at 50 watts. The most I ever use it at is if I get it above 22 watts with my K-Fun, that's a lot. But I want you to see this. .50 watts, 0.4 ohms, 4.4 volts. Okay? Here we go. That was about 5.2 seconds. And I just starting to taste the dry hit coming in there. You saw the cloud that thing produced. I can taste it right in here. I can taste the dryness right in here. We'll bring this down to 45 watts. Oh, went a little too far. 45 watts. 0.4 ohms, 4.2 volts. Airflow is fully opened. I'm using the standard solid drip tip on here. I'm not using that AFC drip tip on here. I refuse to use that thing because it just kills the flavor. This thing here the flavor really comes out. But all right, watch. .4 seconds on the clock. Here we go again. That was 5.2 seconds. See the bubbles coming up? Look at those bubbles there at the top. See those bubbles? That shows that these things are wicking the way they're supposed to. At 5.2 seconds, I just started to taste a little bit, a tiny little bit of a dry hit coming in. And that was on the second pull. Like I said, with these high VG heads in here, this is a totally different tank. With these high VG heads in here, this tank is what it was designed to be. A cloud chasing, cloud chucking, balls to the walls, cloud chasing tank. Sorry, my head's starting to go woo a little bit from the neck. Okay? So, having said that, once again, I will repeat this. If you decide that you want to go for this tank, okay, this tank, the CeraVape Soter, make sure you get yourself a shitload of those high VG coil heads. As soon as you get the tank in, open the tank up, take the bottom ring off, pop out the old tank, the coils that came in there, put them to one side, keep them in your little container like I do. I got a little plano case here that I keep all my coil heads and stuff like that in. Yeah, I just closed that to make sure it didn't accidentally open and then I wound up having everything all over the place. That wouldn't be good. Replace those standard heads with the high VG heads and you will have a freaking vape that is absolutely 100% totally freaking phenomenal. Okay? Enough said. Having done all of that, you got my message. That's where it stands. I wish you all a happy new year. I wish you a happy Boxing Day. I wish you nothing but the best in the coming new year. And if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go over into a corner and I'm just going to pile up over there for a few minutes until this nick starts to wear off. Whoa. Whew. What I don't do for you guys. I'm telling you, what I don't do for you guys. Have a great one. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be ever at your back. Take care.